Welcome to Fireteam Chat, IGN's Destiny show. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited. We have Fran Mirabella.
Hey, Guardians.
And Sean Finnegan is back.
Hello, everyone.
And today, we are talking about Iron Banner, the new versus the old, now that we've had some hands-on time with it. Destiny's new exotics that they're adding and teasing.
Ooh.
And where's my third topic? Oh, the best and the worst exotic quests in the game currently.
Oh. I thought we were talking about nerfing instead.
Do you want that? So that one is a tentative one. We're going to see if we have time to get to it today. It's kind of
to be discussed.
Kind of timeless.
Understood.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope everybody's having a good day, listeners and you guys.
It's Friday. How can you not?
It is Friday. Yeah. And that means Iron Banner is happening. Well, right
Xur
now
is here.
At the moment. Xur is here. Still nothing you want. But the big thing that's going on right now is Iron Banner. So we're going to begin there. What do you guys think? I want to ask you, is new Iron Banner better or old Iron Banner? Finnegan, you just played at my desk. I made you before we did the show.
Yeah, so I haven't had too much hands-on time with it because, you know, I've been playing a lot of Halo and a lot of Fallout. Yeah. But I played so much Iron Banner with my crew back in the day, and I got some hands-on time with it this morning. And honestly, you're right. I don't think it's as good.
You like Control better.
I do
Clash.
like Control better.
So
I have said many times that I think Control is a great mode in Destiny because even if you're not actively fighting someone, you can contribute to the team by going and capturing points and putting pressure on and forcing their team to kind of your opposition to move in different ways. So I like Control. It's a very active play style, or it's an active play, an active objective. Clash, because it's mostly kill-based and because they decrease the score to 10,000 points to win, it actually feels a lot slower. You are totally right in saying that.
So matches happen faster, and you and I were discussing this off the show.
In terms of duration, yeah, they're faster.
Duration, they're faster, but you're wandering around looking for somebody to shoot a lot, and also, like, people will spawn behind you, and all in all, it's just a slower-paced game type that I found than Control. Control, you know where the action is. They're on point C. You can go check out that spot, or they're fighting over point B or something, So you're constantly, like, involved in the game. And this one, it's just not like that.
Yeah, I found that just because there's not as many points to win, you actually have to play a lot more conservatively. So I found a lot more people sitting back, using snipers. It's just a little bit more passive and a little bit more conservative as a play style, which, I think Control forces you out of doing, because you have to go capture points.
Fran, I know you were online last night. Did you play some Iron Banner?
Yeah, I did. A little tired today.
Yeah.
I totally agree with what you guys are saying in the sense that having that objective definitely sets a very particular pace, and it's going to be there every match. That being said, I actually, I'm all about time in Destiny. I like the jump in, jump out factor.
That is a big positive.
Yeah, I get the wandering around thing does happen. It's happened to me. But at the same time, I just kind of like that chiller vibe almost. I mean, I don't know if chill's the right word, but you're right. It's a little slower pace. But I like that you can go anywhere on the map. And it also changes, obviously, if you put together a team of 6 and you run into another team of 6, then it's playing a lot more like you're talking about. You see the groups running with each other, holding up in places and playing almost like a 6v6 trials kind of thing going on. I don't mind it. And in the spirit of change, I'm glad that it's just not going to be Control forever. So, the only way we're going to find out how we want to improve Iron Banner is to do this. And so, let Bungie know what you think. Let us know what you think. And we should talk a lot about that as, a group. Is Clash just never going to work in Iron Banner? And would we just rather never see it? Or, I don't know, do we want to see it occasionally and it's okay to mix it up? I think that's really the conversation. Because I definitely don't want it to be Control, every time.
I think you're right in saying, it's a nice change of pace, and it definitely shouldn't just be Control, but I do wonder about Clash because it doesn't have an objective. I think Rift would work really, really well in Iron Banner, and I would love to try that as well. But you're right. We should try them. They should swap out, and then we should sort of provide feedback so that it can get better going forward.
I feel like I agree with Fran that, it is a more chill vibe that you get when playing the game. But I agree with Sean
is that what you want in Iron Banner?
No,
regular PvP is the chill part.
Super intense is Trials. That's where it's you're on the edge of your seat. Iron Banner is somewhere in the middle ground. It's still intense. There's still a lot going on. It should be like that. And you're kind of losing that here. But I do like that it is a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
It is kind of nice to hop in.
Yeah, I actually think there's room to just throw rotation in there. I think, what's the worst that could happen? You know, like just rotate Rift, Clash,
Oh, yeah.
etc. through, because like for me, and it's something to consider, the point of Iron Banner, give or take whether it was supposed to be super intense or not, was actually just that your level matters.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. And it does. That doesn't change anything. I do think maybe in game types like Rift, maybe that your level maybe it's not mattering quite as much depending on what you're doing. But you know, I'd have to play it to really be able to tell. But yeah, like I think that's fine, you know. But I'd like to see a rotation. You know, that'd be nice.
I didn't finish my point before. What I wanted to say about Sean's Rift idea was that he's right. You need a thing that pushes everybody to one spot on the map. With Control, you have the 3 points, so you know you can kind of sneak around and get A maybe if everybody is focusing on B, and that's why I like Control. So for me, the Control game type is superior to Clash. But something like Rift might work because it would push everybody to that point.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily need to be 1 point, obviously. Like in Control, there's 3 points, but the idea is that you can kill people for points, but in capturing the points and holding them, you're actually increasing your multiplier, which then gives your kills more effectiveness. So it just gives you a reason to want to do it.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, Control is one of the best match types in the game.
Totally.
It's just I think that's why they chose it to begin with. So I won't be surprised if we still see a ton of Control, but I really didn't mind that it was Clash, and I'm certainly not going to complain that they tried something new, because all we complain about otherwise is they're not trying something new. So,
Definitely.
I'm glad to try something.
So let's just wrap up this segment with a quick vote. Do you like the old Iron Banner better or the new one? Fran?
Old, ultimately.
Old for me.
Old for me as well, but I will say that we should definitely be trying new things, and I like that.
Yeah, I mean,
It's decided. Lars and Derek fix it. No, I'm just kidding.
It's literally just this week, right? So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens next.
That's true. Next topic, we are actually going to talk about something that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Destiny is adding new exotics to the game and bringing back some old ones. They announced today, like right before we recorded the show, that Mida Multi-Tool is being upgraded
Inducted.
to a year 2 damage level, which is Mida, sorry, you're correct. That's really exciting.
Mida?
What
I think it's
else?
Mida Multi-Tool.
I always called it Mida.
I say things weird sometimes.
I actually have no
like
idea.
always.
It's funny. I
If we
listened.
wanna-
I listened on the streams they were doing and how Bungie pronounced it. And now you made me forget. I think it's Mida, but in any event, you will correct us if we're wrong. So
Getting to the point, Destiny is adding some new exotics. Let's read from the weekly update. 2 of them are exclusive to year 2. Others are weapons and armor from year 1 that have been upgraded to keep pace with your level 40 character. A couple of those year 1 reprisals might even have some new surprises tucked away in their talent trees.
Interesting.
Yeah. You'll start earning them in places where exotics get earned after we deploy the December update. They might also appear in your kiosk if you've earned the right to spend marks on them. First one they announced is Mida Multi-Tool. Mida.
Love it.
Whatever you want to call it.
I always call it Mida.
Yeah.
I had a friend who
get to
used
the
to
point.
call.
Do we like the gun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so here's the thing.
Are
If
we
you look
happy
at,
about... So, few questions here. Are we happy about Mida? What else
Mida.
do you want to see come back for year 2?
Galahorn.
Do we?
I do.
And then, yeah.
So,
what do we think about the new
I
exotics being added?
love Mida Multi-Tool. I think it's probably my all-time favorite primary. If you look at my profile, the most kills that I have logged is with Mida Multi-Tool, even now after not using it all through year 2.
It's a fast rate of fire scout.
Yeah, it's fast rate of fire, high impact, hair triggers, agility boost. I think it's awesome, and I used it basically up until I got Galahorn, at which point I started using Galahorn. But man, what a great gun. And it's also scouts in PvP are pretty good right now. They're still kind of secondary to pulse rifles, so that's another thing that you might want to consider. I mean, I would consider trying it out for sure in PvP, so I'm really stoked about Mida.
Yep.
Definitely. I'm excited about that one. My point that I wanted to talk about is what else I want to see, and I really want to see Icebreaker.
Speaking of Icebreaker, I just decided to buy at your desk. I just out of
Legacy Engram.
Yeah, I bought a Legacy Engram, got an Icebreaker, and I was so disappointed because maybe in a week or 2, there'd be a year 2 version.
What did you?
Well, now
hope
it'll
to
be
get?
unlocked on your kiosk.
I hadn't discovered like a truth or something like that or
Well, you can't get a truth from the special Engram.
Oh yeah, so I must have just looked at it and thought it was a heavy. And
Bro, gotcha.
Yeah.
In any event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm excited for more weapons to come back and more gear. We knew that was going to happen.
What do you miss, Fran?
What do I miss the most?
weapons or
well,
armor?
I always talk about. I miss more the like Vex from Vault.
Yeah.
Obviously that's one of my.
We
favorite
talked about
exotics.
that
We
on the
talked about
last
it before.
show.
Yeah, so that's one of the big ones. We've talked about the same thing, Icebreaker. We talked about what exotics we want to come back, so I think we're pretty clear on that.
about
There's
armor?
a lot of good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually fairly happy with the armor.
Armamentarium,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm a
that.
word, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with what's out there. Like the Sunsinger gauntlets are not back yet, no, and those are one of the ones rumored to have like a little changes to them, right? But I've just hardly ever used them. So, actually, didn't they talk about? I'm getting confused if they talked about exactly how they're changing them. But remember, Skull of Ahamkara had already come back to Zur. That was basically the example of, I think it's on its way. It's already ready.
Yeah.
They just sold it once, and then now it'll probably come back and be available.
So I feel like that was like a test or an accident. One of those two things. Either like it randomly popped up in his inventory because it's been data mined, and we know there is a list of the year 2 things that are coming from from year 1. If that makes any sense.
Gear and wear.
Yeah, gear and wear. And then that one popped up. So people were like, confirmed.
Yep.
We're going to get a year 2 armamentarium. That's one of the pieces of gear that is in the data.
We're going to get everything eventually. I mean, other
We
than
won't get
anything,
Galahorn.
You will get Galahorn, I think. I do.
It'll be way different.
It'll be different. I don't think it'll be way different. I think they'll just make it more even keeled. So
Yeah.
But the
Prediction:
point is, we've
it'll
got,
come back and it'll be even better.
I hope so.
They'll come back and they'll change the name to Jellyhorn or other things that we used to call it instead.
Yeah. They're also adding 2 new exotics that are exclusive to year 2. So, what weapon type do you want to see? A new heavy, a new special, a new primary?
Great question. Without rocket launcher dominance from Galahorn, that's a huge missing piece for me. I'm constantly using Smolder, which has tracking
that
on it
too,
for
yeah.
me. That's just a good Vanguard rocket launcher. But obviously Truth, that is really nice. But I don't know. I just feel like there's room for like a nice special rocket launcher that you like. Truth is great, but I think it just lacks like. Well, it's hard to compare to Galahorn, obviously. So I don't know. Yeah. Something in between would be interesting. That's my first thought.
I agree with you. I would love to see a new but interesting type of rocket launcher. Like, so for instance, I've been playing a lot of Halo 5 recently, and there's a gun in there called the Incineration Cannon, which if you rapid fire, if you tap the trigger, it shoots multiple projectiles, or if you charge it, it'll shoot one big projectile. I would love to see something like that, like maybe a rapid fire smaller rocket type, or like you can charge it and then it shoots one big one like a fusion rifle.
Yeah.
A fusion rocket launcher. That would be really cool. Just something new and interesting, not just like another rocket launcher that does something
That's a good point.
different,
I was thinking about that too.
So my first thought was machine guns, because I love machine guns in the game, and I would really like to see something unique, like a unique machine gun that doesn't just shoot faster. Like, what's the cool thing that the machine gun does?
Okay, but let's be real. Thunderlord shooting faster as you fire it is the coolest thing in the world.
It is.
It's so good too.
Yeah, but there's other machine guns that do that. I'd like to see a special one. But then in my head, I was thinking of a joke and saying like a heavy sniper rifle. But then I'm like, how would that mechanic actually work? What if it's like a 50 cal, and when you take out this heavy, you're stationary, but in PvE, it 2-shots anything. You get like 2 rounds.
It one-shots orcs.
So like it'll 2-shot, well, maybe not Oryx. He's like a unique encounter, but like maybe Atheon, it could like 2-shot. Just a ridiculously powered sniper rifle that you have to like plant in place to use.
The AWP.
Yeah, that could be kind of interesting, but it might be game breaking also. But
yeah.
No, but I think that's a cool idea though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stationary,
kind of
or like you're really, really slow.
Yeah, I think your point, Sean. I would love to see experimentation. Now that I really am thinking about it, a couple of things that come to mind. We've talked about grenade launchers, so like that would just be cool. Something that bounces around a little, or who knows? Maybe they shoot
ricochet off walls.
Yeah, maybe they shoot plasma, grenades, a couple of them, and maybe that's a heavy. Or one thing that I really just was thinking about that would be pretty cool, I think, is like a high-tech bow and arrow, like a compound bow with explosive ends or something.
That would be neat.
Something just, to like really mix it up, because it kind of fits in that lore, warlocks.
So
not necessarily heavy though. Like it could go in special or primary, like a bow, like something
it could be
really
special.
unique.
It'd be an alternative to a sniper.
Yeah.
So they've
I would
also
think of it somewhere in there.
They've toyed with the idea either via supers if you're the hunter, or grenades if you're the titan, which is the suppressor grenade, like removing the ability to use your super, or at least silencing it or suppressing it momentarily, or something like that. How about like a gun where the more shots you take, like maybe it's a heavy, and it has high rate of fire but really, really low impact machine gun, but the more bullets you take, it chips away at your super.
Oh,
Something
right,
like
yeah,
that.
almost
Like,
touch
so
of
you
the
want to
house
get
kind
out
of
of it. Like, it's not a threat to get killed by it as much as it is just you can't use your super.
Yeah, that'd
Like,
be
that could be
interesting. A gun
interesting.
that activates to a higher level when you have super available, but then chips away or something. Maybe
I mean,
that's-
like if you shoot it at someone, it chips away at their super.
Oh, at theirs.
Yeah.
I also think the opposite effect of the touch of malice effect. Of
Oh,
like,
right.
Maybe you have a gun, and once you get to super, when you switch over, it's like glowing or
Right.
something. But when you use it, either it activates your super, or you can, or maybe it chips away to your point. And you're like, crap. Well, now I gotta trade that off. That's
Right.
actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, just like cool experimentation like that would be really fun to see.
Yeah. And is it game breaking? Of course, the question. You have
Yeah.
enough trouble getting a pulse rifle and an auto rifle to match, let alone a
Still
bow
don't
from
match.
Turok to be in there. But that's where I was just thinking. So I know the exact weapon I want to see now. So yeah, I want a laser guided compound bow that shoots trip mines that stick trap mines that trip mines that stick to like people.
Oh, that'd be
you
so
can, like,
great.
Stick them, and then you see like the red like glow on them, and they're like, "Oh shit, it's on my back! It's on my back!" So maybe stuff like that could be fun, but
That would be really
Yeah.
cool. But it would break the game.
that's
Yeah.
not far off Telesto. That's why I thought of that actually.
Oh, like you just shoot it and like 20 things hit them?
No,
but you get
just
like
one. I mean, literally like a sniper, and you're like, you shoot it into like a control zone, and the one guy's stuck, and he knows it's going to have a radius blast.
Yeah.
So he's got to either pay attention and get out of there, or you now have done area damage on the people around him, or you just stick it like in zone. So
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Something
Like,
like
you
that
could use
could
it
be
for
fun.
like area denial and
Yeah,
stuff.
and that's I would see the same thing for like a rocket launcher, proxmine launcher type thing, as well. Like that could be really cool. Limited ammo, but you stick something in an area. Stuff like that really could. Yeah, it could be a lot of fun, balance-wise. I think there's challenges, but I think that's some of the stuff that's missing right now. We're pretty used to the weapon loadout right now. Swords are really the only new thing, which we
Yeah.
asked for and we got.
And
so,
honestly, are you guys still using your swords? I haven't seen anyone really
I'll
using
use them in,
swords.
in
PvP?
PvE.
oh, you use PvE.
Yeah.
Some people rock them in PvP
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
accurately.
Yeah,
In
PvP
some-
because you can defend and
Yeah.
you can like just eat up
there,
that damage.
there are some cases, where a sword like is really good at clearing out a bunch of ads, but that's really it.
yeah.
I like swords. They're good in the right scenario, and that's what I honestly think makes a good weapon is something that you don't have to or want to use all the time.
Situational,
Yeah.
We have a lot of cool ideas for exotics, Bungie, so just hit us up.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
geez.
Tweeted us.
Yeah,
It's
tweeted
unique
us.
to the three people in this room. Nobody
Yeah.
else has
Nobody
great
else has-
ideas.
yeah,
We've never
definitely
even
not.
seen ideas like this in video gaming before.
Yeah, you guys are missing out. No, I'm just kidding. I want to move on to a topic that actually came from Reddit, and the headline I'm going with is why Bungie is handling nerfing incorrectly. And this was inspired kind of by somebody on Reddit. His name is Chaosital.
Way to practice that one, Destin.
I don't know. Chaoxy. Well, you put an
There it
XY in
is.
your name. I don't know how to say it.
Z.
Anyway,
Zai.
he's saying the newest shot. This is about weapon nerfing in general because they released the patch notes today, and I thought this would be a good way for us to discuss it. So thank you for the topic. The newest shotgun. This is from him. The newest shotgun nerf is proof we need separation of PvE and PvP weapon balancing. This is getting absolutely out of control. This is from the Reddit user. I kind of agree with him. I do agree that weapons should be patched separately for PvE versus PvP because what they've done to shotguns is now pretty ridiculous. They're nerfing the range again. This is from him. They're nerfing reload time, stability, ready stow speed, aim down sight speed, movement speed while equipped,
Of
and
shotguns?
artificially adding frame delay after sprinting. And he's like, just remove them from the game.
Shotguns?
Yeah, shotguns. Shotguns are getting another huge nerf this.
You don't
this
think
week.
they need it? I mean, there's like
In PvP, sure, who cares about
right.
PvE?
Yeah, you're saying. Well,
You know.
but they do separate that. You know what I mean? Like they do. Like, I'm sorry, not that in particular upgrade, but they do that on some guns where it only
On some
affects it.
guns, they didn't this week. At this point, like the shotguns are just like they're nerfing them on PvE side, and it's not really necessary. They work fine.
Yeah, I would
for
agree.
PvE
PvE
encounters.
not a major issue, and we're gonna have to see if the new balance is as bad as maybe it's making it sound. But I think it's much needed in PvP.
Yeah.
So I do think I don't know. I think they think about. Well, I know they think about this a lot. They have entire groups and testing arenas for this stuff. But it does take getting it out in the wild to be sure. I'm more interested in auto rifles versus pulse. Like auto just still is
Auto.
not.
Yeah.
So autos
where it
were
needs
like
to be.
king in PvP for a long time. time, and then they nerfed them early on in year 1, and now they're basically useless. They're trying to get them back to be a contender, and they're close. They gave them another little nudge in December or whenever this update comes out. Does anybody know? It's December, right?
Oh, the date.
Yeah.
Did they name the exact date? I thought they just said early December.
Anyway,
December
I don't want to
update.
speak definitively on that one because I don't have it in front of me. But
it is coming soon.
It is coming very soon. And anyway, the point is they keep putting out these weapon patches, and sometimes they just make guns basically useless. Like, they're not a contender in multiplayer.
Yeah, I really wanted to use auto rifles, and I tried, and it just wasn't there for me.
I want auto rifles back too. That is the gun that I like to use, and the game's just not balanced in a way where you can do that.
But that's what they're doing.
You have to use Hawkman, which is getting nerfed to be
range.
unusable. No,
come on, here we go.
Hawkman's going to go away, in my opinion.
Destin Legary moment.
No,
They're changing range. That's it.
They are again.
They're also reducing the amount of damage it does when it proxies.
I don't think it was anything significant.
Yeah, it's from
it was
1.3
minor.
to
It was
1.2.
to 1.2. Yeah.
I think it's going to have a dramatic impact on Hawkman.
That's only of the holding aces or luck in the chamber bullet, so it's not overall.
I know, like we're splitting hairs, but I think
I'm just saying I use Hawkman a ton. Don't condemn it before we try it.
You do use it a ton, and I think you're going to use it a little less after this update.
But I'd like to. I would like to use auto rifles as well.
It would be great, right? But the way Bungie's doing this right now, it's not working. All that happens is something else becomes king. They nerf that, and they're nerfing things down to the point where nothing is great. Everything's just going to kind of be like, eh.
This is conspiracy theorist talk, as far as I'm concerned.
No,
we had this conversation.
They're trying
before
their best to make the game better, and I don't feel like they're succeeding.
But there's only been it's barely been out the door. This is the point, right? I mean, do you like that it's all pulse and shotgun in PvP?
No,
I mean, you can't like that.
I would like to see it normalized, but if they're gonna do all these weapon adjustments, do it across the board, figure out how you want your game to be, get it balanced internally, and then release a major patch.
Well, but that's what they're doing.
No, they're not. They're doing it in little steps, and every time they don't get it right, which is why they release another patch.
I think you are highly generalizing how this works. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
You really are. Like, meaning, what do you think? Like, there's like, you know what? 1.2 sounds good to me.
No.
I know you didn't test it, Joe, but let's just roll it out. Like, it doesn't work that way.
The problem is, no, they're definitely thinking about it and considering all these variables. And the thing is, they're releasing patches for some of the things and missing out on how that's going to impact the overall game and what will come out as king.
Well, right, but they're doing what you're asking. Like, okay, pulse rifles are getting downgrade just a tad because they're overly powerful. Hand cannons are getting a little better at the close range. You know, they're increasing the ADS accuracy. You know, they're touching shotguns and bringing them down a little. They're also bringing charge rates up on fusion a little. At the same time, they are nerfing some stuff. But that is a lot of change.
I'm not mad that they're changing. I'm mad
they're touching everything.
Yeah, I'm not mad that they're changing. It's just kind of like, it's never worked. They've never gotten it right. There's always something that comes out on top, and then that's the weapon everybody has to use for the month or two. Sean, you've been pretty quiet. What are your thoughts?
Well, we've been arguing pretty loudly.
Yeah, my thoughts in general. Let's see. It's really, really difficult to balance a game like this, but I don't think that the answer is separating PvE and PvE balancing, because the whole idea of
PvE
Destiny.
and PvP, yeah.
You said
both, yeah.
He needs to eat breakfast or lunch or whatever.
I haven't eaten anything yet. What I meant was, I don't think that splitting up the balancing from PvE and PvP is the answer to to PvP specific problems, right? Because like you guys pointed out, shotguns aren't an issue in PvE because you're not often getting close to these big mobs that you're fighting. But at the same time, the idea behind Destiny is that you work both on your own and in PvE and in PvP to acquire weapons and guns that you can use in any situation. So if you're suddenly splitting the balance for PvE and PvP, you're creating two different tracks by which people earn and want to acquire weapons, which I don't think is their goal at all. Like, it's all unified, right? That said, I get wrecked all the time in Trials and Iron Banner by a Titan with an overshield who's just running at me with a party crasher, and I can't kill him fast enough. Yeah, like I can't kill him fast enough. Yeah. By the time, like, he'll be a pretty good distance away, and I can't kill him fast enough, even with Red Death.
Yep.
Because of that overshield.
Yeah. You just got to run. Yeah.
Yeah, like
your only option.
that's the meta right now for Titans is you run Defender, you run no backup plans. That way when you get shotgun kills, you get an overshield, which allows you to get more shotgun kills because then you can close distance faster.
Yep.
And you just Titan skip around, and that's broken. I mean, let me walk that back. I don't think it's broken. It's very, very strong.
Yeah.
And maybe time will tell if there are people who can figure out how to combat that, but I think that I think that changes need to be made, but I don't necessarily know if splitting up PvP and PvE weapon balancing is the way to do it.
I think PvE is fantastic. The way they have the weapons balanced at the launch of Taken King, year 2, I'm like, this is really good. Weapons work how I like it. You know, I don't really feel like PvE needs to be adjusted all that much.
How funny would it be is if
PvP, they need to figure out a good balance for everything. Now I see this a lot in the comments, and people are like, "Oh, we're beta testing Destiny," and I'm like, "No, we're not. Like, be quiet." But the more they patch PvP, the weapons and everything, I'm like, "Geez, we really are. We're really helping them find out where things."
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how it's always been in games like this. Is you listen to the community a lot and you feel out what they think is powerful or underpowered, and you kind of make changes based on that, and in addition to what you're doing internally. But my whole thing is that in a game that's PvP oriented, like Counter-Strike, that's easier to do, right? Because you're only looking at the multiplayer. But here you have two things. You have PvE and PvP, and weapons can be used in both. So there's a lot more to consider, right? And they're very different. So that I don't know if splitting them up is the way to do it. But then also, I actually don't feel like pulse rifles are overpowered. They're strong, but something's always strong, right?
Yeah.
I actually think the big problem was that even at the height of their strength, with pulse rifles, none of them have a really low TTK, right? That was how you combated shotguns in the past, right? Like, I used to never think shotguns were all that powerful in year 1, even when people were whining all the time about shotguns being overpowered, because anytime someone would run at me with a shotgun, I could 3-shot them or 2-shot them with the last word.
If you saw them coming,
Yeah, but then, now they nerfed that. And now shotguns are kind of just running wild.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say was, wouldn't it be funny if the way they combated this going forward was they brought back Thorn and Last Word and made them as powerful as they were before, and we just went back to year 1.
I got an accident, or on purpose.
I would love just reset to year 1 where auto rifles are king again.
Oh my gosh!
Well,
they're trying to get it closer to that. I do like that people are using pulse and stuff, but it's too much of that's going on.
You definitely don't want everyone using one weapon, but at the same time, I don't think that everyone using a whole bunch of different weapons is balance. Like, I make the argument for Halo 1, which is people are like, in Halo 1, the pistol is overpowered. I'm like, no, but everyone has the pistol and everyone can use it, so it's not overpowered.
That's right.
It's balanced.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't think that weapon variation or usage balance is equivalent to weapon.
Yeah, well, at some point you need better loadouts, better strengths for weapons. For your playstyle even, but at the end of the day, there's just going to be this is the weapon you should use. But for some people, it may not work for them. And I think that's what you're saying, Sean. Like, it can't just be totally everything is 50%.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll be boring, You would use everything. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
I would love to hear what the community has to say about this particular topic. And this is a podcast. This is a facilitator to get you guys talking about stuff. So let us know what you think in the comments below.
Also, tweet at us. We like to have these discussions on Twitter.
Yeah, tweet at us. Be respectful. We're friends talking about our favorite game.
That's
one
right.
of our favorite games. Yeah, I should say.
The game we play most, I think, is what you wanted to say. But
definitely.
Not you lately. Probably Fallout is what you're playing more of.
At work, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna actually close out the show. I know both of you guys have a lot to do today. Fran, is there anything we'd like to plug?
I like that you ask like I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
If you're listening to us, be sure to drop us a review on your favorite podcast platform. But also get in the comments. It's the thing I've been reminding people most, like we were just saying. So let's have a conversation in there. Talk to other Destiny fans. There's too much people that continue to ask, why are we playing this game? But why are you on this video and listening to the show if you don't want to? So.
Also, that's a really cool shirt, Fran.
Thank you. Yeah. That's right. I forgot. I'm wearing my Fireteam chat shirt today in canary yellow, I believe, was what the offices decided that it is.
That's a bird.
We're going to call it Trials Yellow then. How about that?
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, that's better.
It is Trials Yellow, I think. But anyway, you can check it out on go.ign.com/store, right? We have some Fireteam chat t-shirts there if you want them.
Thank you guys so much for joining me. We're going to close out the show with our traditional outro.
That's right. We got Jose.
Until next time, Guardians out.